All right, hello and welcome to my new apartment. So, a lot has changed since we last spoke. Last you saw me, I was in Greenville, North Carolina, and now I'm in Los Angeles, California. Moving across the country has been an experience, I'll tell you that. It was a very emotional roller coaster for me. I still have moments where I forget I'm even here. I think I know I'm in another city and state. Hi, Maple. Yes, and Maple is here with me. We did not leave her behind. What do you got to say? Those are some very thoughtful words. The move itself definitely had its ups and downs. I spent a good couple months really preparing and actually physically moving. I think I had signed my lease for this apartment, I want to say in May. It was mid to late May where I applied, and then I got accepted, and they asked me when I wanted to move in, and I was like July 1st, because I wanted to get it over with, but I also wanted to give myself enough time to move and to mentally prepare as much as I could. So I had a whole month, but I didn't go straight from Greenville to LA. I stopped in Tennessee to visit family and friends before I left, and also just to offload some stuff because I could not take everything with me. My apartment is less than 200 square feet, so it just was not feasible for me to do that. Oh, I love this girl. So yeah, I had to stop at my dad's first. So I really had 2.5 weeks to pack everything, and I put it in a U-Haul. My dad came up to Greenville from Tennessee. He drove up there with a U-Haul, because at this point I still had my van, which that's a whole nother thing. So, I had the van, I had Maple, and I couldn't fit all my stuff into my van, and I needed a second person to help me drive my car and this U-Haul. So my dad rented a U-Haul in Tennessee, drove it to Greenville. It was a 10-hour drive, which I really appreciate him for. And then he met me, we put everything in the U-Haul. We spent a day or two in Greenville, and I did some work and, ate at my favorite places before I had to leave, said goodbye to friends. And then we drove 10 hours back to Tennessee, where I stayed for about 2 weeks. And then I flew out literally on July 1st. I think I woke up at 3:30 in the morning. And then because of all the time changes, I got here at 9 a.m. So I was on the plane all day, and yet I had all day to myself in Los Angeles, which was really weird. And yeah, so I got to the airport and then went back here, got my keys, and now I'm here permanently. And I love it. Oh my God, I love it so much. I love being here. And Maple got here. When did you get here? You got here. Oh gosh, when did you get here? You got here on Saturday. So I was here for almost a whole week before Maple got here. We paid to have her driven here. She's never flown before. And I did not think it'd be a good idea to have her first time in a plane when I'm trying to move and I'm stressed out, and I was like, that just doesn't sound like a good idea for her or for me. So I've used transporters before with her, and so I reached out to the same people and I was like, hey, can you do a drive to Los Angeles from Tennessee? And they agreed, and so they brought her, and so she got here on Saturday. Got here at 9, 10 a.m. on Saturday morning, and then we had all day to cuddle. We spent a lot of our day just on the couch like this, cuddling. and she helped me clean and organize, and oh, and Maple helped me clean and organize and get settled here. And so far, I think she likes it. Do you like it here? I think that's a yes. uh, nah, she loves it here. She loves being with me, and that's all that matters. Mwah. Isn't it? That's all that matters. But yeah, so I've just, just been getting settled. And I will say, even though my apartment here is a lot smaller than the place I had in Greenville, and obviously a lot smaller than my dad's house in Tennessee, I kind of prefer it that way. I know that sounds like crazy, but I'm actually being 100% honest. Yeah, because I lived in the van for like 2 to 3 months, and I really liked the size of the van. Something about living in a small space does force you to be more mindful of how you spend your money and the things you're bringing into your home, because it's like, where the hell are you gonna put it? And it's almost been freeing moving here, because I had to leave a lot of stuff behind at my dad's house. Albeit there are things that I couldn't bring, like my Scooby Doo collection. I've been collecting Scooby Doo like DVDs, and like I have a few stuffed animals and a couple figurines, but I mostly just collect media, and I had to leave all of that at my dad's house, which really sucks for me because I've had that collection since I was like 4 years old. That's when I started collecting. So that was something that was like really upsetting, but I knew it'd be better leaving it. Yeah, I know, it's upsetting. But it's better leaving it there until I inevitably probably move into like a slightly bigger space. I don't know when that's going to be, but whenever it is, then I can go get my little collection of DVDs. But yeah, for the most part, besides that, I think I've brought everything else that I've wanted to bring. I have all my favorite clothes. I definitely downsized my like journaling and crafting collection a bit, which is probably for the better because a lot of that stuff I wasn't even using. But I did bring like some of that. And I brought like some board games. I did have to leave a few more board games behind, but that's okay. I don't know. I'm pretty content with all this stuff I was able to bring. The only thing I couldn't bring was my tripod. I had like bought this whole other suitcase just because, okay, I also had my car transported here. Well, let me talk about that. Okay, rewind. So I lived in a van, we all know this, and I still had it when I was living in Greenville. I honestly never used it. It was really just like a car at that point to get to work, to go to the grocery store. It was kind of sad, like spending all that money on this car that I really loved, and I just feel like I never really got to use it because it just didn't fit my lifestyle anymore. And I know I made a video about like why I quit van life, and I remember there was a comment on there and they were like, I'm confused, like, just because you got a job that doesn't mean you can't do van life anymore. And it kind of does. At least for that job, because the Southeast is a very temporal zone, and my van was a budget van. So there was no air conditioning built in the van other than like what is in the car when it's running. So for like air and for cooling, it's like these two vents that just circulate air. But the thing is it can get as hot as like 90 to 100 like 90 to 100 degrees, or it can go below freezing, and the weather is just so unpredictable. The weather in the Southeast is so unpredictable that living in a van like that doesn't have like a built-in AC heat unit is really not safe, especially for Maple, because there are days where I can't take her everywhere, and I could not leave her in the car. Like, that's why I had to get an apartment, like, for my safety, for her safety. So that's like why I couldn't do van life anymore. It just like literally wasn't safe and did not make sense for me being stationary in this small town that also like was not equipped with like, there, at least to my knowledge, there wasn't any like real campsites within a reasonable distance that I could stay at long term. There was no like parking areas other than like Walmart, and I know Walmart can be kind of weird about parking overnight now, so it literally made no sense. So yeah, that's like why I'd quit and why I got an apartment instead of just like living in the van like some people thought I might. But yeah, so that happened, and then when I decided I wanted to move to Los Angeles, I was like weighing all my options, like, okay, should I buy a car when I get there? Can I afford to buy a car when I get there? What about my van? What do I do with that? Like, can I take it with me? And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, okay, if I'm gonna move to Los Angeles, like, like, being realistic, I told myself when I moved to Greenville that I would still use the van every weekend, and I would go to Outer Banks and, like, go to all these, like, beaches and all these little parks and, like, go camping. I never did that I never did it. Never did. Because it was just, like, so much easier to just stay home on the weekends and, go hang out with friends and, like, go to the movies rather than just, like, go camping by myself. I honestly just like, yeah, it just didn't appeal to me anymore, which is kind of sad. I know, because I put so much work into it, and I did enjoy it when I was like actually using it. But so yeah, if I was like, if I'm gonna move to California and I'm gonna, because the thing was like the cost to ship a car versus buying a car outright, like used, it's cheaper to ship a car. So I was like, okay, I could ship the van, but then I'm like, okay, but in LA, a lot of the places to park are garaged, and you can't park a camper van in a garage because it's too tall. I think the van I had needed a minimum clearance of 9 feet to fit, and most places don't have that. And then it's like, yeah, there's like street parking, but street parking's hard to find. And then I'm like a solo female. Like, that's just not the safest. And it just didn't make any sense. I'm like, why would I pay to have this monster of a car shipped across the country? That's also a gas guzzler. That's like, just to do errands, I was spending like hundreds of dollars on gas every month just to go buy groceries a couple times a week. So it made no sense. And in high school, before, like, way before I ever like wanted to do van life, I used to drive this Honda Civic that my dad had like bought and like given to me because he wanted me to drive a safe car, and I was fortunate, like, we were fortunate enough for him to be able to do that for me, and I'm very grateful for it. And so when I was like talking to him about moving and stuff, he was like, just take that car. He's like, just pay to have that shipped. And which actually made sense because it was cheaper to ship like a sedan versus this cargo van. Not a huge difference, but like still a couple $100, helps. So then I was at this point where I was like, okay, if I'm not going to take the van with me and I'm going to drive this other car, then why am I keeping the van? And so I decided to sell it. And that was a really difficult decision for me to come to because, I mean, yeah, even though I never really used the van that much, I still loved it. I still put a lot of hard work into it, and it still meant something to me, and it still does. But it's no longer mine. So I put it up. I think I listed it in January is when I first listed it, because I knew I wanted to move. It just wasn't like solidified then. At that point, I was like, I'm just gonna sell it, and then whenever I sell it, I'll move. And then I was getting a lot of interest, and I had like people tour it like via FaceTime. I had people say that they were gonna like come drive up to see it, and then as soon as we get to the stage where like people actually like had to come look at the van in person or like to buy it, they would ghost me. And it was getting really frustrating, and it just like nothing was happening. And then my one of my family members, oh, there's a plane or something. That might not be a plane. I don't know. Loud noise. One of my family members works in like car sales. He like sells cars for a living. And so he had offered, he was like, "Oh, if you don't sell it by a certain point, like," he's like, "feel free to leave it on my lot, and I'll try to help you sell it. And just if you have buyers that are interested, they can come view it at my lot, and I can give them tours." Which was really nice of him to offer that, but I don't know, I didn't really want to do that because I was like, I don't want to move to Los Angeles and then have this car that has like pretty much all my life savings I had, like, up until when I built the car, like all the money I'd ever made from like odd jobs, waitressing, retail, dog walking, you name it, like all of the money I'd made doing those kinds of jobs, like in high school and college, went into that car. And so I was like, yeah, I was like, I appreciate it, but like I would much rather, I appreciate it, but I would so much rather have the money when I move, you know? Because it is a big move. And I didn't want anything financially holding me back because that's like really stressful. And it's like, I don't know, I wanted to sell it. I wanted the peace of mind that like the van was gone and that I could move on with my life because it was a lot. And literally, I was going back and forth with a bunch of different people. I had a buyer in Tennessee because originally I was trying to sell it in North Carolina. And then I had this one woman from Tennessee offer, and I was like, oh, and she was older, so she didn't want to like drive all the way over there. And I was like, well, you know, like I'm actually from Tennessee, and like what if I agree to drive it to Tennessee for you, and then you just meet me like in Tennessee versus like driving all the way to North Carolina and you buy it from me there. And we were like set for it to go, and then I think literally like a week or two before I was going to sell it to her, because I was still in Greenville at this point, she called me or texted me and was like, told me that she apparently was like a part of some banking scam. And so then she got like she got like really freaked out and was like, I'm afraid that this is a scam. And I'm like, I promise I'm not a scam. I don't know like how to prove to you otherwise. I've given you all like the paperwork, I've given you the car's history, like I don't know what to tell you. And so that fell through, and that was really upsetting and very stressful. And I was at this point where I was like, I guess I'm just gonna have to leave it like with that family member. Like maybe my dad can keep both. It was such a mess. Oh my God, it was such a mess. And then like a day or two before my dad got to Greenville to like help me move, I got a message from this woman, and she agreed. I like told her the situation. I was like, hey, like, you know, I'm in North Carolina, I'm about to be in Tennessee, like, can you meet in Tennessee, blah, blah, like, I told her the whole story, and she was like, sure. And so I think the day after I got back to Tennessee, this woman, like, came to my dad's house and saw the car, and we, like, got it weighed so she could see, like, if she could, like, how much weight she could add to the car. You know, we did like all the evaluations, and I sent her like all the paperwork I had and all this stuff, and then she bought it. And so I sold it to her, and I'm very grateful that she bought it because that was like a huge stress like taken off of me. And now she has that van, and I wish her all the best. I'm not going to say like who she is or where she's from because that's none of my business to share. But yeah, I hope she lives a great life, and I hope the van serves her well, and I hope she is able to use it more than I ever did, and appreciate it more than I ever did. So yeah, it's like crazy how it all worked out, kind of last minute, but it all worked out. Yeah, so that's like the whole story of like the moving. So yeah, once I flew out here, I think, I came here with one like large suitcase, and then I had a carry-on and my backpack with all my camera equipment in it, and that was it. That's all I brought. Well, okay, I did have that car my dad offered me. I did have that transported over here, and so like I threw like my like bigger clothing items like coats, and like I think I put like a blanket back there, and then a couple other things, just like bigger stuff that like this pillow I have. Home Sweet Home. I bought this so long ago. I bought this for my van, and then I ended up not liking it in my van, so I just like left it at my dad's house, and I was like, this is coming with me to LA. This is such a cute little pillow. So yeah, it was like, yeah, that was it. That's all I brought. I didn't bring much. Again, 200 square foot apartment, not much to do here. Like this is my bedroom, right? So this is a couch. And this is a Murphy bed, and it comes down and turns into my bed, and the bed quite literally fills up the entire room. And there's like a small little walkway around the bed to like get like it's actually so crazy. It is such a small room. It is the smallest bedroom I've ever had / office / that's not true. The van was smaller. The van was smaller. I think this is double the size of the van. Like if you, like, yeah. I think if you took the van's interior, like from the bed to like the back of the seats, I think if you like copied and pasted it to the side, like this is about the size of like double the van. So not the smallest space I've lived in. And it does help that I have this huge balcony right here, which you will never see the outside of. I refuse to show that to anyone, just because I'm a paranoid little freak. But yeah, I have this really big balcony out here, so that is nice. And obviously there's like a kitchen and stuff on that side, but this is all you get to see. Just this one wall. This is all you get. But yeah, that is me moving to Los Angeles, and now I'm here. And I'm very cozy, I'm very happy. I am just very grateful to be here, and I'm covered in dog hair. It's so funny because when I first moved here, it was like so clean, and then the second Maple showed up, it just dog hair everywhere. I need to vacuum for like the third time today. That's one thing they never tell you when you get a golden retriever, is that no matter what you do, you're just always going to be in hair all the time. It's just the way it is. Oh my god, hi! First of all, I just want to thank every single one of you so much for watching and for being subscribed to the channel. There's 90 of you now, which is so crazy. I mean, just a few months ago, I was at like 21 subscribers, and I'm just very grateful for every single one of you. So thank you so much. And I'm so excited for this next chapter of my life. So if you want to stay tuned and listen to me talk about life, talk about literally whatever I want, and you know, maybe a few more higher quality videos here and there, like the why I quit my van life video, then make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment, do all that. I love you the most. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the episode. Okay, welcome back from the break. I have no idea what was in the break because I normally plan those things last minute. It's normally just me like asking you to subscribe or something. I don't know. We'll see what I come up with. I'm checking my notes because I had like, normally when I film these, I just kind of talk and I don't have any points I like laid out or anything, but this time I actually do want to talk about specific things, mostly because it's like so much has happened and I have been so inconsistent with these videos, and I keep telling myself to post weekly, and I'm gonna do it. And I feel like doing these like podcast sit downs, I'm so sorry, it's very loud here. If you can hear the cars and planes outside, I apologize. There's always something. But yeah, I do want to post weekly. I think it's just easy to do these like sit down podcast style videos because I don't really have to edit much. I just have to make sure that if there's something I said that I'm like, oh wait, I shouldn't talk about that because it's like personal, private information and I get carried away when I'm talking. Or if I, you know, stutter too much, then I might cut it out. But other than that, it's like fairly simple to get these out. So I think I want to start doing like every Wednesday is I sit down and we talk, whether or not I'm actually doing a craft or not. I might ditch the craft thing. I'm not doing it right now because living in a small space, I'm like, I really can't be doing crafts like that because where would they go? Literally, where would these like I can only paint so many things and hang so many things before it all ends up in the trash, you know? And I don't want to be wasteful. But one thing I thought would be kind of fun, and I didn't do it this time because, to be honest, I'm just really tired. I finished, I have a full-time job, right? So I do that, and then when I'm done for the day, it's like the last thing I want to do is like make content, but I want to make content, so I have to make content. But yeah, what was I saying? It's almost like this where I should probably cut them out. But I was saying something, and then my ADHD brain got distracted, and now I can't remember what I was saying. Oh, right, that I was probably going to switch, like, the way we do this. I think instead of doing crafts, because, you know, this is too cute for this economy, and it's just a cute girl talking about the struggles of being a cute girl. That's kind of the vibe. So maybe I'll start, like, dressing up and, like, because I have a lot of, like, really fun dresses that would not be normal to just like wear to the grocery store, you know? Like I have like some very like I still have my high school prom dress that I just like to throw on sometimes. It's like this velvet green dress and it's super sleek and I love it. And I have another like red velvet dress that I love to wear and a bunch of like really short dresses, just stuff that it's like I could probably find things to wear them to, but it's like how often am I going to things to which I can like wear these types of dresses? So maybe I'll just like talk and dress really cute and that'll be the aesthetic. I don't know. But okay, I got my notes now. So I wanted to talk moving to LA, which we already did. I kind of just want to keep talking about LA. When I tell people I moved slash like wanted to move to LA, I feel like I get two responses. The first one being, oh my God, congratulations, like that's so exciting. And then the second question or like response is, why though? Especially because it is an expensive city and clearly, you know, you don't get that much for the money you spend when it comes to like rent and stuff. I feel like I got really lucky with my apartment complex because it comes with so much stuff, but it is a trade-off because it is a very small place. Like, I remember when I was still in Chattanooga before, like, I had already left Greenville and I was in Chattanooga visiting my dad. We went to a certain furniture store and the attendant that was helping us like was what did he I think he had asked me, he was like, oh, have you like bought furniture with us before? And I said yes, but not at this location. And he was like, what do you mean, like what location, and like why were you there? And so I told him, I was like, oh, I was in Greenville, like I was there for work, and you know, like I'm back here now because I got a remote job and I decided to just like, you know, if I'm gonna work remote, I might as well work wherever I want because, you know, I have that freedom now. And so he was like, oh, so like you're moving back to Tennessee full time? And I was like, oh, hell no. I've lived in the South my whole life. I'm over it. Like, even in like high school, I always knew that I would not stay in Tennessee. I knew I would go somewhere else. I just never knew where I wanted to go. I've traveled quite a lot. Like I've been to Paris, I've been to Canada a couple of times. I've traveled up the entire East Coast, like from Florida all the way to Canada. I think the only like East Coast state I haven't been to is Delaware. I'm pretty sure I haven't been to Delaware, but I've been to like every other state. Up, I think like the farthest west I had gone before I went to California for the first time was like Louisiana. I think was like the furthest west I've gone, but I've like pretty much hit like all the states like to the east of that, minus a couple. But yeah, so he was like, he asked like, where are you moving? And I told him Los Angeles, and he looked at me and he was like, you know, the crazy thing about LA and like living in LA is how expensive it is, and you're gonna hate it and you're not gonna last more than a year, so you should really just stay here. And I was so floored when he said that because normally when I tell a complete stranger, especially when they're like, you know, in customer service, that I'm moving, they're normally just like, oh my God, so happy for you, that's so exciting. Or even if like they clearly don't understand slash agree with my decision, they're at least like, you know, it's the very like common, it's like, oh, good for you, like as long like like happy you're happy, happy you're excited, you know. I've never he was the first person, especially a complete stranger, who was like working in this furniture store to tell, like, who is he to tell me that I'm gonna hate my life in a year? Even if I did, like, that's none of your damn business, sir. It's quite literally none of your business, and no one asked you. So, like, that, just, like, the audacity. If I had the audacity of a single white man, like, that's how I felt in that moment. And it's just, like, so annoying, because I was genuinely so excited, and then he just had to rain on my parade, and I was like, what the heck? But you know what? Joke's on him, because I'm here, and I freaking love it here. So, joke's on him. But, like, all that saying, you know, people always ask me, they're like, why Los Angeles? Because, you know, it is a big decision, especially coming literally from the other coast. And I think there's a lot of reasons why I chose Los Angeles. The first reason is because when I moved to Greenville, that was, I think that was the smallest town I've ever lived in. It has less than a population of 100,000. I think it's like 80,000 people live there. And most of that is just like because of the college and like the big medical center there. If that wasn't there, like there really wouldn't be that many people. Yeah, it's a cute little town, but it made me realize how much I hate small towns, especially because I spent my whole life in the South and, you know, I just needed a change of scenery. Like it, not only was it a small town, but it felt exactly like Chattanooga, but just half the size. And that wasn't really a feeling I liked or wanted. So when I had come to terms with the fact that like I did want to move, I just didn't know where, and I was deb- and I had a lot of people in my life like that I would ask. I'd be like, "Hey, like if you were to move anywhere, like where would you move?" And all my friends I talked to, and like they all kind of came to this consensus of like, well, with your career like as a video editor, and also the fact that like, you know, I'm in my 20s and I'm still very young, it's like if you're going to move and make like that drastic of a change, then go all out, right? Like don't just pick another small town, like pick a city. And Atlanta and Nashville were off the table because again, way too close to home. And also like I've been to Nashville and Atlanta so many times, and I feel like if I'm going to make a move like that, like I want a fresh start. I want to go somewhere where it's like this is crazy. This is a crazy move. And so I was debating between New York and Los Angeles. I've been to New York before, like for a week or two when I was in high school on like a summer excursion thing. And I had a lot of fun, but I remember like when I was there saying to everyone like, "Oh, I could never live in New York." Because I just like I don't know, something about it, like it was fun to visit, but something about it just didn't really appeal to me as like a place to live. And also I hate the cold. Like genuinely hate the cold. I'm very temperature sensitive because of the heart medications I'm on. So I just like don't love the cold. I would rather be somewhere where it's warm all the time, you know? But I was more drawn to New York at first because I have another friend who like maybe wanted to move to New York. And I was like, well, if you moved there and I moved there, like it would be a lot less scary and you know, I would know someone. And at this point I didn't really know anyone in Los Angeles. I didn't really know anyone in New York either, but there was like the potential to know someone in New York, you know what I mean? But then I like thought about it more and more and I was like, but like I really don't like the cold and like I really don't think I liked New York all that much when I did visit. And at this point, I had never been to Los Angeles, so I was like, okay, well, I have to go to California. I just have to go and I have to see how I feel. Because I really shouldn't make this decision unless I like know somewhat what I'm getting into, you know? And especially because like for my career, it makes more sense to be in California because hello, I'm a video editor and as of now like I've predominantly worked in the social media YouTube space. So like of course, Los Angeles just makes more sense for my career than New York does. But still, I'd never been, I didn't know anyone, so it was really scary. So, so then I like planned a trip out here. I was here for like a week or two and like did the whole like living like a resident thing and absolutely just fell in love with the place. Like, just like the weather, like the fact that like the the food, the food, oh my God, the food. Like, you really have not eaten until you've lived in a city like this or like been to a city like this where you can just like eat every freaking type of food that has ever existed on this planet Earth. And it's all within like, it's all like on the same block, you know? Like, oh my God, just so incredible. And then it was kind of funny because like while I was like thinking about moving here, a lot of my friends and like past colleagues just all like at the same time just started moving out here. And so all of a sudden I knew more and more people that lived in Los Angeles, and I was like, well, dang, like my career, my friends, like just things I enjoy doing, places I enjoy being, like are all of a sudden in Los Angeles. So that, like, to me that was like, it's a no-brainer. I just moved there, and I did because I'm here now. Ugh, I'm so tired. But yeah, it's just it's so crazy, and like I still can't like wrap my head around the fact that like I'm actually here. I like keep forgetting that. And I'll be reminded. I mean, when I look outside my window, I literally see palm trees, and so like that is a helpful reminder that I'm somewhere nice and warm. But yeah, it's just like I went to the mall the other day, and there was just like so much stuff, and I see certain stores like Uniqlo. Like, I've never lived in a place where Uniqlo existed. I've been to a Uniqlo before, like I've seen them like in Chicago and stuff, but I've never lived in a city where like we had a Uniqlo, we had a Miniso, we had, like all these different brands that you like see all over TikTok all the time, and like actually getting to go and just like being like, I can come back here whenever I want. Like, it's just being able to do things just because you want to is so nice. And then like driving through like the Hollywood area and like seeing like, or not even like just driving through Los Angeles, and like I drove by the Sony Pictures building the other day, and it like hit me. I was like, oh, like I'm in California. Like, this is Sony. And the last time I was here, I remember we had driven by, what did we drive by? It was Warner Brothers. We drove by Warner Brothers, which obviously I'm a huge fan of Warner Brothers because I'm obsessed with Scooby-Doo, and my secret ultimate dream of all time would be to like be a voice actor on a Scooby-Doo project. I think that would be so awesome. I don't know how I would ever end up doing that, but I'm putting that in the universe right now. If I ever had the chance to do that, I think I would just explode with happiness. Oh my God. But yeah, so it's just like moments like that where I'm like reminded, oh, right. I live in California. And also like meeting people, like I met this one guy who works like at an animation house, and he works with Damien Haas on like Delicious Dungeon, and I was like, that's crazy. I love that show. Love Damien's work. And then like I met someone else who like works for Mattel and like designs toys for Mattel, and I'm like, yeah, cuz it's LA and like everyone here has a cool job. And so it's just, oh my God, it's just, I feel so stimulated here. I feel so like full of possibility and potential. And I'm fully aware, like, moving to a city like this is not going to solve all your problems. Every city is going to have its issues. Every place is going to have its issues. But it's just like, I finally feel like I'm doing something for me, Because moving to Greenville, I did that for a job. And then before that, like, I was just in Tennessee because that's, like, where my family was. And with COVID, I didn't really have the chance to go anywhere for college. Because, like, it was just, everything was so uncertain. And it just, I don't know, I've always felt like I've kind of been, like, I haven't really been, like, allowed to do things for me. And now I'm like, no, I can. I have a remote job. I can do whatever I want. Like, I can go live in California, and I can, go do all these fun things. I can go to karaoke. I can go to Korean barbecue. I can go get empanadas at, like, a Venezuelan cafe. Like, it's just, I don't know. I finally feel like my life is, like, happening, and I'm not just, like, waiting for things to happen anymore. I feel like the things I want are coming to fruition, which is a really nice feeling. And I'm very grateful, and I'm very happy. And yeah, I don't really know, like, what else to talk about. I think, I think that's a good note to leave this on, that you just got, you know what? I actually, during this whole, like, moving process, I was watching Jane the Virgin, which I think I have, like, 7 minutes left on the last episode as of recording this. And there's a line that keeps coming up, Raphael, one of the love interests in the show, always tells Jane, be brave, because she is like an aspiring writer, and so he's like her number one supporter, and he's always like, be brave, and like be a writer. And I think that's kind of like the advice I'm giving myself right now is like, be brave, move to Los Angeles, film more YouTube videos, like do the things that bring you joy so you can make the things you want in your life happen. And, you know, what is that saying? It's like, don't tell God you have a plan because he'll always like mess with them or something. It's like, don't like, it's like to have a plan is a surefire way to like, to not, I don't know what the saying is. I'm rambling, but it's like definitely have things like that you want to do for yourself, but also like know in your mind that things won't always be the way you envision them being. Like the process of moving here definitely did not go the way I thought it would, especially with like trying to sell my van and the timeline in which I moved and where I thought I would be and all this stuff, and things work out. Like everything works out. You just got to stick it through. So, be brave, believe in yourself, and you know, just do things that spark joy, do the things that bring you joy. Just keep doing them, and eventually maybe you'll find yourself somewhere that feels right for you. And I feel like I'm finally at a place where I'm starting to really feel that and really believe that. You know, it's like one thing at a time, and I'm very grateful for the very small steps I've taken to inevitably get here, you know? So yeah, be brave. All right, that's it. I'm gonna go eat. I'm hungry. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.